Hey, what's up, everybody? Curious Burger here. Thank you guys so much for checking out the last video. I really appreciate it. So let's get right back into it. Today's topic matches the name of our world here, liquidation. So I hate to interrupt the beautiful music there, but let's get right into it. So, when it comes to assets or investments, you don't make any money on it unless you have dividends, which we can talk about later, until you sell it. See, any position in investing where you're making money requires some form of sale. Unless you're getting dividends, unless you're getting paid for having the investment position for the company's profitability or whatever it is, like profitability? Did I say that right? It doesn't matter. Long story short, generally, if you have an investment, you're gonna have to sell it eventually if you want to make money on it. And that goes for a lot of things in life. Like if you're looking at your relationships with people as investments, which they kind of are, that's again, like I said in the last video, that's not all that they are, but they do have those aspects. Like if you're looking at things through this lens, you realize it's everything has to end. The ending gives it the meaning. The ending gives it the meaning. A hardcore Minecraft world, like, you know, how can you have hardcore in games like Minecraft or Terraria, or like a lot of these games, without having that mechanism of, oh, you lose everything permanently? Like, what could be harder than that? What could be more difficult than liquidation? You see, it's not an easy thing to sell things. It sounds silly, it really does, but it's not an easy thing to do. If you like Pokemon cards like me, you've probably sold one before, or traded it. But, you know, a lot of people sell theirs. It doesn't matter what you do. It's your stuff. I don't care. But letting go is usually the hardest part. And yet that's what makes it so special. See, when you realize that things have to end, that there has to be some form of flux, that there has to be some constant change, it makes you do things a little bit differently. Let's say that you were a timeless being. You were like Pennywise. I didn't know this. I found this out recently. But the creepy clown from It, like the Stephen King, like the horror novels, films, that guy's a timeless being. So he essentially experiences all instances in time where he resides all at once. If that makes it hard, like if it's hard to understand that, when people talk about time as the fourth dimension, if you were to be able to look at time as the fourth dimension, like just going through it, you would essentially be able to see all places that you ever have been and will be through the lens of time. So like take yourself standing in your kitchen, and if you were a timeless being, you would experience yourself in every part of your kitchen that you ever had been and ever will be. like every time you're standing near the window, looking out the window, every time you're doing dishes, every time you're eating in there, like you would experience that all at once if you were timeless. Like if you're talking about time as a fourth dimension and then it not affecting you. And so if you were a timeless being like it or whatever, where you experienced all things in time at once, it wouldn't really matter when you did anything, right? Because you could always do it later, or you could always do it now, or maybe you had technically already done it in the past because you literally have infinite time. My theory about time in the universe is its purpose, its existence, is to force us to get shit done. Because otherwise, we could literally pick and choose what we want to do and when. Because it wouldn't matter, because the aspect of time as a limiting factor to any interactions or getting things done, like, it's not there. And so time forces liquidation. Time forces you to say goodbye to certain assets, to certain investments, to certain people, to certain relationships. And it sucks. I would never tell you that that's fun or that I enjoy that. Like, it really sucks. You can ask anybody who's like had to sell their childhood Pokemon collection for like a car. I bring up Pokemon a lot just because it's easy for me to reference in my frame of mind, but like it could go for anything, like Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Beyblades, fucking Bakugan. Y'all remember Bakugan? Holy shit, bro. But yeah, while liquidation sucks, like when it sucks when you like let's go back to the like pure investment side of things really quick. And just kind of ignore dividends for a second, because we'll talk about dividends later. How do I put this? It is a natural facet of any asset to include liquidation. Like, let's take Bitcoin as an asset, right? The only way you're making money off of Bitcoin is if you're shorting it, which is something that a lot of people don't understand and is something that I would probably talk about in a later video. I'm not explaining that now. Or having a long position. To keep things quick and to just give you an idea for when we talk about this later, going short on an investment means that you're trying to make money on the price of the asset going down. Going long on an investment is trying to make money on the price of something going up. Going long is the most traditionalist investment strategy, and it tends to be the most effective for a lot of different reasons, and we can get into that later. But long story short, in order to capitalize on a long-term position, on a long position, well, long positions aren't called longs because they're long-term. They don't have to be long-term. Although I think that might be the origin of why they're called that. I don't particularly remember. We're not here for an etymology lesson. Or is that entomology? No, entomology is the bug one. Etymology is the word one. Yeah, I'm so smart. I'm such a smart guy. Hey, rather be a smart fella than a fart smeller. Am I right? All right, let's get back on track. Listen. You're going to have to say goodbye. In order for there to be value associated with something, there has to be some limiting factor. Things that are essentially unlimited do not have inherent, like, perspective value associated. Like, nobody's out there, you know, thank God we don't have O'Hare air yet. You know what I mean? Like, you can go outside, it's like, oh, air is free. It's fucking everywhere. Fills up the entire What, the entire atmosphere? I mean, obviously not, you know, there's nitrogen in there and all the other shit that we pump into the atmosphere, like carbon dioxide. There's way more than just nitrogen, carbon dioxide, oxygen in the atmosphere. There's a lot of shit in our atmosphere that should not be up there. But again, what makes things valuable is, you know, it's simple supply and demand. It's the limiting factors. And the fact that time kind of puts a limiting factor on everything gives everything an inherent value. Like, while air itself may not have, inherent value, the time that you spend outside breathing in fresh air, that has inherent value because that's limited. I hate to be the one to break this to you. In case you haven't realized, you are limited in how much fresh air you will ever get, like being outside, because there is going to be an upper limit to how much time you spend outside. Isn't that strange to think about? That the air itself is not particularly valuable because, you know, it's kind of always there. You can always go out there and get it. But the time that you spend outside or like in quote unquote fresh air, you know, I know I'm being a little bit semantic here, but you see what I mean, right? And so that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you guys about today, is liquidation is inevitable. You're going to have an exit plan. An exit plan in investing is somebody's plan for when they are getting out of a position, for when they're like, all right, I'm done with this investment. I've gotten what I wanted out of it. Like, I'm going to sell it, or like, I'm going to close the position, or whatever it is. You don't need to have an exit plan when it comes to, Jesus Christ. You don't need to have an exit plan when it comes to your relationships. In fact, I don't think you should. I think that's a very shallow thing. You ever seen the like meet the character trailers from Team Fortress 2? And the sniper, there's this Australian sniper, and he's like, you have a plan to kill everyone you meet. That's, you know, it's a funny line. And, you know, if you're in the realm of being an assassin, it's pretty applicable. I can't lie. But you shouldn't have, you know, obviously if you're an assassin, you want to have a plan to kill everyone you meet, go ahead. Go be Batman and have a fucking contingency plan for every single person in your contact list. I don't give a fuck. But, how do I put this? You shouldn't have a plan for when you're going to be done with someone. You know what I mean? Because that implies that you're using them. That implies that the relationship that you have is purely transactional. The reason I bring up exit plans is because sometimes you have to liquidate a relationship for a reason that is not death. Now, granted, I don't want to liquidate any relationships. Every single person that I meet, every single one, they're individuals. They're completely unique. This is something I will either make another standalone video that's not part of this series about, or like, I'll probably bring this up a couple times, probably a lot of times if you keep watching me. It is empirically provable. It is literally scientific fact that you can never have two of the exact same biological creature. Like, you can get genetic copies. You can get essentially clones that have the same genetic information. But in terms of them being the same exact, like, the same exact person or being or creature, it is forever impossible. Because of the uncertainty principle, aka, well, not aka, but sort of essentially like the butterfly effect. I'm not going to get into all this right now. But sometimes you're going to have to say goodbye to people. You're going to have to liquidate a relationship, even when you don't want to. Now, granted, again, like I said, like, I don't ever really want to. I don't ever really like losing people in my life, no matter who it is. Like, it's never a good feeling. But sometimes you get no choice. And so how you go about making that choice, actually, you know, they don't teach you this one in school. It matters a lot. Dude, it matters a lot how you end things off with somebody in any relationship, whether it be romantic, friendship, even your own family. Like, dude, you know, everybody's got their story, like everybody's got their trauma. Like, there's people in my family that I essentially have had to like come up with exit plans for. Like, I've had to figure out, like, okay, like, how am I treating this person in my life? How am I removing them from my life? Or how am I like keeping that, like, you know, how am I compartmentalizing this? I'm not really going to get too much into that specific aspect of it because today we are talking about liquidation. Whether or not you want to admit it, it is almost synonymous with loss. I say almost. It's not entirely, of course. You are gonna have to do this a lot. And while my ability to know when and how I want to liquidate a financial position, like I'm really good at telling you, like, all right, this is where I want to be at on selling this asset, or this is how much money I plan to make, or, you know, this is when I would probably not want to buy, or whatever. I'm really bad at that with people. This is what is known as discernment. Is when you meet people in your life, some of them are secretly fucking monsters. I'm not kidding. There are people you will walk past on the street that, if given the opportunity, would be magnitudes worse than fucking Hitler or Epstein, dude. I'm not kidding. I'm not trying to like make light of something here. I'm really trying to drive this home. There are some really fucking evil people in this world, man. Like, really bad. Like, really completely selfish. No moral compass. No worry about if and up, down. Now listen, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I've had a lot of strenuous relationships, but I've been very lucky. Even the worst people in my life have somehow still usually been cordial to me at some point. But that is why we get back into this aspect of discernment. You need to very quickly develop boundaries and standards for yourself as to what you will allow in any of your relationships. This is not just romantic. Remember what I said. You should have some, and you don't need to write this down anywhere. You don't need to fucking reiterate it to yourself like it's some kind of mantra. You should just have at least a rough idea of what type of shit is gonna make you liquidate. Now, there's a lot of, are we serious? There's a lot of comparisons to be made here. I could make all types of analogies, like, oh, are you the type to liquidate as soon as something goes down? Are you the type to panic sell? And I realize now that a lot of people might not know what that means. So let me explain. Panic selling is when you buy something like an asset and you think it's going to go up and it just doesn't. Or like you think you're going to make money on a certain position and it starts going down, like way down, like to the point where you get scared. Oh, is this asset ever going to, like, let alone be worth the same amount that I paid for it? Is it ever going to be worth anything eventually? Like, is this going to go to zero? Panic selling is when you enter a position and you don't really have an exit plan. You don't really know what your plan is. You didn't have a plan with the asset, so you're just like, oh fuck. Or like sometimes even people do have exit plans and they still panic sell. They see the number on the stock or the Pokemon card or whatever it is start going down like crazy and they can't stick it out. They can't stick around for the hard times. And I'm going to tell you guys a secret about value investing. It's made me a lot of fucking money. All right? I don't like to talk about it. Like I don't like to talk like, you know, toot my own horn or whatever. But this will make you a lot of fucking money if you can do this one thing. Are you ready? I'm going to explain it. Obviously, have a plan for your investments. Now, remember what I said. Relationships are not purely investments. They have aspects of investments, but that's not all that they are. But when it comes to your actual investments, have a plan for what you're doing with them. And granted, in your relationships, you should still try to have like plans. You should still try to be making plans. If you want to maintain a friendship, if you want to, you know, improve yourself, if you want to change, the fastest way to do that is to make plans. So have a plan, number one. And number two is the really big one. Know when there is an indicator to liquidate, and know when you're just kind of being a pussy. If you have an argument with your girlfriend, but every other aspect of your relationship is good, do you think you should panic sell? Do you think you should liquidate that relationship? Probably not. But there are people like that who do that. Well, maybe you're a little bit more like me. Maybe this is my issue. Maybe I have this problem because of the way that I grew up investing. Sometimes you won't sell no matter what. And that is actually one of the biggest pieces of advice that I can actually give you. Is if you bought, like, here's the real idea behind investing. If you see something that you think is going to be worth more in the future, that's something to invest in. Duh-doy, wouldn't you believe it? Wow, holy shit, that's crazy. You should know why you're investing in something. You should know the reason that you are maintaining a position in something. You should know why you aren't liquidating. It sounds trivial, but it's a big fucking deal. If you know why you're invested in something, and you have clear boundaries for what would make you liquidate versus things that would just make you like a little bit anxious about it or whatever, you have a plan. Because to invest in something, the planning of it is really just, first off, are you getting like a fair price or the value or whatever? But like, long story short, it's really just about, you know, hey, do I think this is something that's worth my time and energy, my limited, finite resources that are so valuable because of their finity? Is that a word? How finite they are. You know what I'm saying, right? You get me? So I think I'm just about to wrap up this video here. There's a couple more things I want to do here in the game, so I'll keep yapping. But long story short, don't be a panic seller. Like, if you know your reason for investing in something or someone, if you're having a bad day, if they're having a bad day, just breathe. Just look at it. Take a double look at it and just think about, what's worrying you there? What issue are you really having? But at the same time, don't be like me to where you will completely ignore your red flags sometimes. Because I'll tell you this. Back in 2017, in Christmas of 2017, I remember the price of Bitcoin was right around $14,000 to $17,000. And I told everyone at my family at Christmas to invest in it. Maybe like 2 people took me seriously, if at all, and they still didn't buy any. Everyone else basically just like laughed me out of the room every time I brought it up. I'll never forget this. This is my own family. The next year, it was pretty much up. It was way up. It was at like 40,000, 60,000. I don't fucking remember. 2018, it was doing pretty well. And every one of them asked me, they're like, "Hey, are you still in Bitcoin?" And I didn't have the heart to talk to them about it. This is a little bit of a Cassandra type of story where there's like this character in like Greek myths called Cassandra who can see the future, but the curse is that nobody ever believes him. That's more of just a personal anecdote. But the reason that I bring it up is that during that like next year, Bitcoin took a shit. Like, I'm pretty sure it went even lower than 14,000 or 17,000 or whatever it was. Like, it went way lower. And I held on to it. And that next year, I was way fucking up because I held on to my position. Because when times got rough, I knew what my investment was for. I knew why I was confident in it. And so instead of pussying out, I stood there and sucked it up, and I was like, you know what? I already put the money into this. Let it ride. And sometimes, when it comes to other people, you should let it ride. And sometimes with other people, you should close your position. You should realize if, oh shit, like there are critical indicators that your stock in this person is completely fucked. And I'm really good at ignoring those because I love people. If it hasn't been made clear from the last video, I fucking love people. Like, people are my favorite aspect of everything. Like, every job I've ever had. Like, when I was working in a lab, my favorite thing, the people there. When I was working at a fucking chicken shop, favorite thing, the people. When I was working as a referee for soccer, favorite thing, people. I'm working at GameStop right now, like part-time, just for funsies. Dude, my favorite thing about it? The people, man. And so, there is going to be that part of you that's a lot like me, where you want to give people the benefit of the doubt. But oh, brother. Oh, don't be delusional either. There is a time and a place to liquidate. My friends, thank you for joining me today. And hopefully in the next video, we can talk about variable interval reinforcement and how that ties into everything that I've been talking about. I plan on working on this series as a cohesive body of work. I don't have a title for it. I don't really have a plan. But I think I'll only be done with this series when I feel that it's complete. Because I have a lot of things to talk about, and weirdly enough, they all kind of relate together. Have you ever heard of the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon? before I let you go here. The 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. I didn't even know this, but apparently Kevin Bacon is like a famous guy. The 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon is a theory that you are only ever 6 degrees away from being in contact with Kevin Bacon. You are only 6 social nodes away from being in contact with Kevin Bacon. You are only 6 people away. Within 6 connections, you would be able to find someone who knows Kevin Bacon every single time. That is like the theory. So like your dad might know a producer who worked on a movie who knows Kevin Bacon. That's within like a couple degrees of like each other. Well, as I let you go here, I kind of want to make it clear that the things that I talk about, and a lot of things in life in general, are just degrees of Kevin Bacon. Every topic, like if you go on Wikipedia and you click on a random link, there's actually, I'm not kidding, there's like a game about this where how fast can you get to a certain thing on Wikipedia by connections through other things. Long story short, you know, you're going to get the psychedelic, trippy kind of aspect from me. Everything is connected. Everything is connected. And I think that ties into, you know, whatever karmic justice people think there is in the universe, or just what life really is, the magic of life that I kind of talked about in that first episode. There's an inherent magic in the fact that everything is connected. It's creepy. It's pretty fucking creepy, to be honest. But it makes growing up a lot easier. I'm 24 right now. I'm about to be 25 in February. And I'll be honest, I've been kind of a late bloomer in a lot of ways, like physically, emotionally. Like it took me a long time to really get my shit together. How do I put this? Realizing the deep interconnectedness of our world made things a lot easier for me to approach and understand, because it made it easier for me to ask questions. It made it easier for me to realize how similar everybody is to each other. You're never that far away from anyone or anything. You may not believe it. There's a lot of space on this earth, but you're never really that far away. All right, guys. It's kind of interesting that I have the TikTok cape on. I don't know why. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch you guys in the next video where, again, we will talk about variable interval reinforcement. Thanks so much for being here, guys, and I will catch you next time.